Something's happening inside the British military, and it's not a drill. Soldiers are walking out en masse, and it's not over pay or pensions or politics. It's something far deeper, a quiet rebellion that's now sending shockwaves through Westminster. And at the centre of it all, Keir Starmer. This isn't just a staffing issue, it's a warning. And once you see what's really going on, you'll understand why so many are saying, enough is enough. Let's break it down. But first, hit the like button and subscribe to the channel for more. Right now, the British military is facing a quiet but very real crisis. Soldiers are leaving, not trickling out, but signing off in large numbers. And this isn't due to retirement or end of contract transitions. It's a deliberate choice. Soldiers are voluntarily walking away, and it's happening across multiple regiments. What we're witnessing isn't just a staffing issue, it's a warning sign. A growing number of trained, capable servicemen and women are turning their backs on an institution they once proudly served. That raises a serious question. Why? The answer is deeper than poor working conditions or stretched budgets. It goes to the heart of what the British military is now being asked to do, and what soldiers are expected to stand for. Increasingly, those within the ranks are beginning to question whether their service is truly about defending the UK, or about being pushed into conflicts that serve foreign interests and political agendas. At the core of this discontent is the looming shadow of Ukraine. There's a growing perception, among both serving personnel and the wider public, that Britain is not only offering political support or arms, but is quietly being positioned to send troops. And with recruitment already failing to keep up with demand, the government is facing a cold reality. They are running out of willing soldiers. That's where the talk of conscription starts to come in. And not as a distant theory, but as a very real possibility. The signs are already there. If voluntary service dries up, the state may move to compulsory enlistment, drafting ordinary people to fight in a war that Britain was never directly involved in to begin with. And let's be honest, for most people in uniform today, this isn't what they signed up for. Many of those choosing to leave the military aren't doing it out of fear. In fact, most of them will openly say, if Britain was invaded tomorrow, they'd be on the front lines without hesitation. They're not refusing to defend their country. They're refusing to be used as pawns in a foreign geopolitical game. They've seen through the slogans, the flag waving, and the speeches. They're clued up, connected, and far more aware than previous generations of what's really going on behind the curtain. And from their perspective, this isn't about defending Britain. It's about playing out the ambitions of people like Zelensky, Starmer, and others, who seem determined to entangle the UK deeper and deeper into an international conflict. So the decision to walk away isn't about cowardice, it's about principle. It's about refusing to be exploited for causes that have nothing to do with British safety or sovereignty. And frankly, can you blame them? If the state tried to force anyone into fighting a war overseas, a war that doesn't involve defending this island, our homes, or our families, many people would choose prison over service. And rightfully so, because this is no longer about military duty. It's about integrity. It's about whether we allow our lives to be used as leverage in a proxy war we never asked for. The wider public should be paying attention. Because this doesn't just affect soldiers. If conscription becomes a serious policy move, it's everyone. Your sons, your brothers, your neighbours. Who will be next? And in that moment, we'll all be faced with the same question. Do we comply, telling ourselves it's our duty, when deep down we know it's not? Or do we finally draw the line and say, no, not in our name. This isn't defense, it's exploitation. Because once conscription is normalized, the precedent is set. It opens the door for the government to decide who goes where, who risks their life, and for what cause. And if we let that happen, we give away more than just control of our armed forces. We surrender control over our bodies, our choices, and our futures. So to those in the military who have walked away, you deserve nothing but respect. You're not traitors, you're not running. You're standing up for something bigger than blind obedience. Moreover, there are signs that this agenda to undermine and misuse our armed forces is already creeping in through other channels. Just look at what's reportedly happening in Birmingham. There are serious concerns that British Army personnel could be deployed to deal with the city's rubbish crisis. a task that has absolutely nothing to do with national defense or military responsibility. Let's be clear, using trained soldiers to clean up bins is not just a waste of capability. It's an outright insult. It would mark one of the most degrading uses of our armed forces in modern times. These are men and women who train to serve and protect the nation, not to pick up black bags and sweep city streets, because local councils and unions can't manage basic civic functions. And if this is how a Labour-run Britain plans to solve problems by militarising civilian failures, then it tells us everything we need to know about where this is headed. It confirms just how detached and damaging Labour's agenda really is, and how dangerously willing they are to repurpose our armed forces for political theatre and damage control. This isn't about support, it's about control. It's about degrading the role of the military until it becomes just another tool in the government's toolbox, whether to fight wars abroad that aren't ours or clean up the mess at home they themselves created. If anyone in or around Birmingham sees signs of military involvement, photos or footage would be vital. Because what's happening now isn't just a local scandal, it's a national disgrace in the making. In other news, Home Secretary Yvette Cooper has lashed out at trans activists who deface several monuments, including some dedicated to feminist heroes. Police launched an investigation into what was described as an emergency demonstration by protesters after 7 statues were vandalized in Parliament Square on Saturday. The Metropolitan Police said the statues were daubed with the graffiti during the demonstration, which was held in response to a Supreme Court ruling on the definition of a woman. No arrests have been made in connection with the criminal damage, but officers are appealing for witnesses to come forward. Photos from the protest showed the phrase "FOG rights" and a heart painted on the banner held by suffragette Millicent Fawcett's statue. Trans rights are human rights was sprayed on the pedestal bearing a memorial to South African military leader Jan Christian Smuts. Parliament Square is home to 12 statues of political figures, including Winston Churchill, Abraham Lincoln, and Mahatma Gandhi. Plans are underway to remove the graffiti, but specialist equipment will need to be brought in, the Metropolitan Police said. In response to the damage, the Home Secretary condemned the vandalism, calling it disgraceful. Criminal damage like this, including to statues of men and women who fought for freedom and justice like Winston Churchill, Nelson Mandela, and Millicent Fawcett, is disgraceful. It is right the police are investigating, she said. We are strengthening the law to better respect and protect important memorials. She added, freedom of speech and protest are important in our democracy, but this kind of criminal damage is completely unacceptable. The protest was in response to a landmark Supreme Court ruling delivered on Wednesday that confirmed the terms woman and sex in the 2010 Equality Act refer to a biological woman and biological sex. The ruling means transgender women with a gender recognition certificate could potentially be excluded from single-sex spaces if deemed proportionate. Activists at the demonstration demanded trans liberation and trans rights now, with many waving flags and holding banners as they marched towards St. James's Park. The ruling sparked controversy among various groups, with transgender activists expressing outrage. Chief Superintendent Stuart Bell, who led the policing operation, said, "Criminal damage and vandalism like this has no place on the streets of London." What are your thoughts on what we discussed in today's video? Let me know down in the comment section below. If you have not yet already, make sure you do drop a like on this video and subscribe to the channel for more British content. Thank you, take care, goodbye.